This is Platform Stories, your monthly deep dive into platform engineering with Jörg and Christina. Hello and welcome everyone to our second episode of Platform Stories. I'm Christina, co-founder and CRO of Mesh Cloud, and with me is my co-host Jörg, our CEO.
Hello everybody.
In this podcast, we interview exciting personalities from the cloud and platform space. And today, we have a very special guest here with us. We have known her for some years now when she was still based in Wolfsburg. She's a great role model in the IT world, and I'm very happy to introduce her to you today. Renata Vasconcellos is Head of Digital Solutions and Cloud Services at Volkswagen Group Services South America. She's been working in the Volkswagen Group for more than 24 years, has an immense experience in various international markets, cross-functional teams, and technical domains such as cloud. Based on these experiences, we will talk about organizational change, leadership, and internal platform marketing to drive adoption. And now, welcome Renata to Platform Stories. Thanks for being with us today, live from Sao Paulo.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the invitation. I feel very honored. And when you talk like that, I'm like, already 24 years? Oh my God. It's a long time.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah. You do the business and you don't really, you notice that time is really flying. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. 1
moment or 24 years.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm live from São Paulo. You can see my background is not a picture. The trees are, moving. The sun is shining. I think it's a little bit different than in Germany, and I enjoy that.
Exactly. Yeah, coming from the February weather here today, we are a bit jealous.
You have a jungle back here.
You have your fake jungle. I have my true jungle. But yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah, from São Paulo here, from our headquarters in the center of the city in Morumbi, and this is the tech base of our operations.
Perfect. Then I'd say we start straight away. So if we look at car manufacturing, platforms actually have a long tradition, not necessarily in the way we talk about it today and discuss it here, the platform engineering way, but it's a very familiar concept. Maybe you can tell us a bit, how would you describe your role right now and what's your definition of a platform?
Yes, thank you. Well, you know that for car manufacturing business, they always need a platform. They always need a kind of concept of how to build these cars in many different locations, the same way with the same metrics. And I think that for technology is not different. So I define itself as a base that gives all us as teams and techies the guideline to get something that the whole group, the whole company, and everyone can benefit from that. Because if everyone is trying to define for themselves one platform, this can go a little bit wild. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
And my role here, sorry, the first question. My role here, I came here to make a base for VW as an offshoring service provider for the whole group, for tech and for cloud as well, of course. And in this offshoring possibilities, we are here in this time zone to serve the Americas because we have already our bases in India, in Asia. We have our bases in Europe, but it was missing this part for the group here in the South America.
Yeah. Yeah, from what you mentioned, we already realized it's a very big organization, as everyone knows as well, of course. So if we come to the question, how do we change such a big organization to this topic, this block of topic block that we start with? This huge and diverse group, it brings also a lot of complexity with it, and changing such a thing is quite a challenge from time to time. And I wonder, like, if we want to introduce a big thing like a platform for a number of or large number of teams and organizational parts, basically, that might be a very big project, and we all have bounded rationality, so we can only foresee so far and keep a goal in mind if it's really very vivid and very, very strong. So how do we do that? What are your experiences to handle this complexity, to really make it go through as well effectively? Because if it's too complex, sometimes we might lose the view on the way, and it might get lost, and we might not drive the change home, basically.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I can tell from my experience, I think it's better that if I give maybe examples from my 24 years experience in the group, because I didn't start with cloud, of course. So when I started at VW, they realized that this platform for processes and systems were missing. And as you said, this group is so big. We have more than 100 plants around the globe, and we have the culture, the local market demands. I mean, it's really complex. And in that case, when the purchase department realized that we needed something that we could call it a base, that a purchaser in China or a purchaser in Brazil could communicate via the same platform, that they could, use the same terminology, even if they have different systems. So we came up with a plan that it was called Green 15. And this is an excellent example how to cut this complexity into something that is usable and acceptable from all different parties. We defined a group of tools, a group of systems and processes that everybody could use and were agreeing to use. And then we said, okay, that's our base. This is what we are going to roll out throughout the world. And I did that for 6 years. I was only traveling, I can tell you. And in the end, purchasers were very happy to have this platform.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was pointing towards. 6 years is a long time, right? You need to be so steady in your goals or adjust them accordingly to find this path and to also keep it up for 6 years, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us maybe a bit more about how you broke it down in steps that were like milestones where you could really measure progress towards the goal that you set?
In that case, because we are talking here about more than 900 rollouts, it's really a huge project. So it's nothing that you can do it, in a year or two, because otherwise you would need more than 400 people just going around, the plants and installing those systems. So in that case, the 6 years was a tough time. What we did is that we set up a package of what we should do that year. So we made an agreement with the plants, and we said, okay, this year we bring this package. Is that okay? All right. And then we worked on that. And why Green 15? Because it was supposed to be finished in 2015. So our table, our map should be all green, like your wall there, you know? And in the green beginning, it's all red. Yeah. So that's that's the methodology we use. So every meeting with all brands, we show this table, and it's in the beginning red, and then it's becoming greener and greener and greener until we finish. So that's how we could be successful in such a big project.
Yeah, great. That's also already a response to the motivational question we have later on.
But they want to see green, Nobody wants to see red.
Who doesn't want to, right? But
yeah, exactly.
I like it. It's a simple form, but I imagine it motivates and it keeps everyone aligned also on the status, right, where we are. Yeah. Regarding that, did you go first with because what I want to look at is the platform vendor or the platform team that offers a platform versus the platform users. Did you start with the platform team and decide basically what you want to offer, or did you go to the users and say, okay, what is it that you need urgently, or how did you manage the balance between the two? Because of course you need an attractive offer and then people who use it.
Well, from the experience, my experience, and as well from the group, because the group exists long before I exist. So they know that if they try to put something top down, this is not going to work, So our perspective is always to start from the customer. In that case, the purchasers was our client. Yeah, they were our clients. And then we asked them what could be the best process and the best systems that they would like to use. And then we came to this platform teams and said, this is the package. Because the way around, you try to put something for them, and in the end, we are not going to use this platform. The users are going to give us the feedback. It's not what we need. It's not what we want. And this would be a total waste in the end. So I truly recommend, everything that we should, establish as a base, as a platform, should start very customer-centered. Otherwise, this is not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting that you started so early with this perspective and to manage that project that way. Now that was natural at the beginning that you put up one platform for this, right? Because you were in charge of creating this one platform. Often in companies and large organizations, we have different platforms or many platforms. And then there's this question, how much autonomy do the platforms have? And how do you also keep them somehow aligned, that you don't have like two platforms for the same thing, or slightly the same thing, or like, a better and a worse version of the same thing. So how do you, in your experience, how do you help with making a good organization of multiple platforms in terms of, who decides about the autonomy and what do we centralize?
Yeah, very good question, because this was actually the work that I had in the last 2 years at the VWAG, heading this platforms, cloud platforms specifically, because we realized from the demand point of view, started cloud demand in the production 10 years ago. So there was not really a special initiative to take care of cloud that time. And along the way, because of the demand, all departments and plants realized they needed cloud, but there was not a governance. And that's my point of view. Actually, we created somehow a patchwork of platforms that in many cases have the same use case, which I think that is not the best cost-efficient way to do that. But in the end, if there is no governance, and that's the point, I would say that centralized governance is key, but autonomy to give to those platforms only if the use case is different. So if one use case is for marketing, then let them do whatever they want, and don't try to really control that, because they know what they need. But if the use case is software development, don't mix it up. Don't try to put all together in one platform, because this is not going to work. They have different perspectives, different needs, and they have to be separately. They have to grow separately. But if the governance is not centralized, then this goes south for the whole group, for the company.
I mean, we always have this dilemma, right? That we want to have this autonomy to decide about what's the best support for certain cases. But of course, we also want to have the scale which comes centrally. For example, cross-cutting concerns like security or cost chargeback, because that's something which is like the same process in the organization usually, and that's why we should, or why it scales better when we do it once for every platform. And like when we look at the split in responsibility, can you? I mentioned there are two examples like cost and security, but what do you think is a good split in terms of what should be in terms of concerns that should be central versus what you should keep to the platforms?
Well, if you let, let's say, the teams, the platform teams just develop whatever they want, they will always be in love with this technology that is always evolving. And the security point, for example, I would say not only security, but risk compliance, this governance, risks, compliance and security. I think these are the key points that in the end, it will bite us back if we don't do it well. And every platform is trying to do something, but if we don't have a very strong guideline, in the end, this comes back, as a problem. I would say that for building platforms where you give this autonomy for use case, the central point for governance would be security, compliance, and risk, to assess that. But the technology that it is going to be implemented in every use case, they have their own guidelines and more policies that could be implemented according to the use case. But if this is missing in the governance, I think this whole project, especially talking about cloud, can go really south.
Yeah, I mean, it makes also sense if we have guidelines in security or compliance that are valid for the whole organization, then that's the best place also to create a common framework, basically,
Exactly.
right? To have one version of the truth and not many interpretations. And then, but in this framework, then let everyone create what they need to support their individual use cases, right?
Exactly.
That's maybe,
And just to enhance that, if you allow me, we
Sure.
have also different, in specifically you're talking about cloud, I mean, you have different providers in the world. And we can have this war tool as well. Which tool is the best to have a security scan? I mean, if we don't have to go this way. We just have to say, be sure that whatever tool you use and you scan, you treat your threats. If you are going to do this with tool A, B, or native or a software as a solution, that's fine. But be sure that the threats that you are going to find, they're treated. And these are the guidelines and the framework that we have to put in place.
Yeah, that also touches the subject of shared responsibility model in terms of making a consistent one, right?
Exactly.
So make sure that things are resolved indeed. We have this discussion a lot with customers or other market participants we discuss with. Because maybe you also want to use several tools for security purposes because they basically complement each other and you have a higher coverage, right? And then it also makes sense to scale that centrally than to have it widely grown and not managed somehow.
Yeah, maybe to add to that, I think because Renata, you also mentioned, right, that the techies, they fall in love with the tech and that's what they're focused on. And I mean, of course, that's great if you love the product you're building, but in that case, often they forget about the actual customer and what the vision, what the purpose of that platform was, because they like to build it so much that the actual purpose gets lost. So it's really important turning back to the first question, to have that vision of what do we actually want to achieve with the platform and to really steer everybody back to that vision in order to make sure that we are still progressing in the right direction and don't get distracted with actually the technology that we would like to use and try out in that context. I think that's something that is a bit new to the whole platform engineering story because it's techies building for techies. So everybody kind of likes to get involved with the tools and the services that are being offered there.
Yeah, connecting this business impact in the end, right, to the platform. Do you have what comes to your mind when you think about how can you connect the business impact to the platform that is being built right now?
Well, I am a very customer-centered person. I really like to put the customer on the focus, and I can tell you that trying to make a platform that has a mission, Christina, just, enhancing what you just said, not forgetting why this platform has to be built and what is the purpose of this platform. It's not easy. It's not easy to get these techies, like a sheep, hurdle that has to walk together throughout a process that in the end we reach this mission, because in the middle of the way, we can be very distracted with so many things that happen along this way, New things are coming and they are so in love of trying and they don't want to wait and they have to try to do it right away because it's, since yesterday is live there. And it's a mix, this impact of the business, because they are expecting this platform to fulfill this mission. And at the same time, the platform teams trying to get us straight in a good way, yeah? And that's the balance that in our leadership we have to have, because otherwise you lose your team or you lose your customer. You lose the platform target in the end. So that's the mix that we have to have building those platforms.
Yeah, I think that's also the challenge here, because when you want to build a great product, you need to get in the details, right? You need to understand because that's also the value you provide. You think through a problem very, very well, very detailed from different angles, and then you provide a product that solves it for the user. But that also makes it easy to get lost in the purpose itself, right? Just build it, and it's so hard to always bring yourself back to the top bird's eye view and say, okay, why are we doing this at the end, right? What's the achievement, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's where leadership is very important, where it's important to give the team, as you just mentioned, to give it guidance, and making sure it's not imbalanced in one way or the other, right? To bring it back on track. Coming to our second block, the leadership. So, what is your experience? How do you motivate potentially hundreds of people, be it users or platform builders, to drive that change, which might be organizational, technical, involve cultural as well. So it might involve a lot of change for one person. So what are important factors, characteristics, or details maybe? What is the right level of detail, basically, that you describe a goal so that it's actually attractive for those people, to motivate them forward?
Well, I start everything in my life putting people in focus, first of all, not the technology. Yeah, so that's, I had a mentor. I love to mention that when I started at the VW, my mentor, my boss, he was the purchase president in that time in Volkswagen. He used to tell me, Renata, I don't want you to send an email. I don't want you to make a phone call. I want you to go there and drink coffee with them. And I was like, come on, we cannot drink coffee with everybody, we don't have time. And he's like, you're going to learn that drink coffee with people gets the best out of the situation. If it's motivating people to discuss the project, or, to get rid of a bottleneck, or come with terms in a situation where you have three different views for a way of dealing with this problem. And I was like, okay. And sometimes I would describe a problem to him and he was like, are you talking to me or are you talking to yourself? Did you drink coffee with them? And I was like, this coffee again, So I was bothered in the end because I couldn't grasp what he was telling me, is that the personal input, your person makes a big difference. I think we tend to overlook ourselves in the process. And my leadership is based on that. I bring myself to the projects. I drink coffee with people. I visit them. Christina told in the beginning, I'm dealing with cross-cultural international teams. And it's true. I had teams in India, in Barcelona, in Portugal, in Germany. You have to visit them. You cannot just do business via call conferences. This is not going to work. You have to put yourself there. And you have as well sometimes to, participate in social events. And people have to know you, because in the end, people are motivated by you and by the project, but not only the project. And it's great when this combination works, when people are motivated by the leadership and people are motivated by the project itself. And that's how I tried to deal with this complexity and this many teams in different cultures and time zones.
Yeah, I think this
coffee.
also like. Yeah, or I mean, you can always switch to tea if it gets too much coffee, right?
Chai.
Or later in the afternoon.
Chai, everything, tea, coffee, whatever you have to drink. Yeah.
There's also the malt coffee, which is not really coffee, just which you can just steer. From my personal point of view, it's also something which we currently with this remote work, and as much as we like the flexibility to work from different places or from home, which might be a bit threatened, right? That we build this trust in a personal setting, come to the office together and meet there. I mean, now you're far away and still we can speak together like here, which is great,
sure.
But I know you're traveling a lot as well to keep these personal relationships up.
Yeah, we have to try because otherwise this gets lost, and I heard during the pandemic that people were hired and left the company without even seeing somebody during this time, They said hello and goodbye just online. I mean, we are out of the situation. Thank God it's over. But the point is, if we don't really make the effort, then this leadership is somehow just a virtual thing, And then people think, okay, I'm not that valued. They don't know who I am and what I can bring, so they're not motivated in the end. And they search for something else.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is also the focus you have, because when you're in the same room at the same time and nobody is like on other windows, basically, then you have more focus and you really can solve things very quickly, which might otherwise take way longer.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You need to synchronize.
Yeah. It's also a different feeling of responsibility if you've looked at somebody in the eye and said, yes, I'm going to do it, or yes, let's do that together. You feel more responsible and also more impactful, I would say, in the whole context. Otherwise, sometimes it feels a bit surreal if you just have these conference calls and then...
Yeah, I think you feel it more. That's probably the inner reason, right? That when you shake the hands and then you really have this commitment in your
absolutely.
Body, basically. But coming back to the question about like how do we motivate the people? Because what I would really like to understand is how do we find the right level of detail? Looking at that aspect one more time. Because if it's too visionary, it might be fluffy. People might, or like it's hard to understand what we really mean by a certain goal, and people start making their own ideas of what that means. If it's too specific, it's maybe not showing the big picture, or we get lost in detail again. So, do you have an example or some experience on what is a good level of detail to formulate a goal that is motivating?
I think that both aspects have to be there. You have to show the vision, but I think what companies mostly forget is what is the specific role of your team, each one of them, not a team, but each one of them in that vision. Because if I am in a team, if I am a team member, I want to know for this great big vision, what is going to be my role? What is going to be my achievement in that, Because I'm not going to pursue Renata's vision or VW's vision. I'm going to pursue my own vision in that vision. So it's like a vision inside a vision, and this must be personal. And if you don't talk to everyone and say, how about this vision for you? Is it something that you can get something out of that for you? Oh yeah, I'm going to learn that, and I'm going to develop this skill, and I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and learning this part of the technology. And I say, great, because then this is your mission now inside of this vision. Because if you don't do that, then you are right. Then either you get too visionary or too detailed that you don't give a perspective, and then people get lost, because what I realize is that people cannot make their visions out from themselves. You have to guide them somehow. You have to show them this perspective in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years. you are going to achieve that through this project. And then they are in. If they see themselves there, they stay.
Right.
They stay and they fight and they do whatever they can to be successful in this mission.
Mm-hmm. So if I understood you correctly, it's not like a general level of detail that we need to map, but we need to map the individual parts, contributions,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Which leads to the goal for every one of the team members. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is not easy.
Yeah.
This is not easy
that's
because
hard work, of course. Yeah.
Many wishes come. Many wishes come out of that.
Yeah.
And then you say, this I cannot give you, but that I can give you. You have also to negotiate a little bit. But if you don't do that in the beginning, you are going to lose them along the way, for sure.
Yeah. And what you do basically is you make it relevant to them personally, right? So
personally.
You plug basically
Everything
from
must
the big picture,
personal.
you plug there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything. You basically plug the cord, the line, the lever from the big vision and put it in their hands so that they understand this is my contribution to the whole machine.
And this is a very important work in the beginning. When you have this vision clear, then you sit together with all of your team members and you say, look, how can you see yourself in that?
Yeah.
And then you come up with something good, that is stable along the process, because otherwise you're going to lose members.
Yeah, it's even better basically to give them the task first to think about what is in it for them so they take ownership, right? Otherwise, if you just drop it.
And they do it very well. We don't need to babysit people,
Yeah.
They know exactly what they want and how they want to do that. You just give them something to achieve, something to get built, in that case, platforms.
Yeah. And be part basically of something bigger than the individual contribution. I think that's also a very motivating thought for many.
And if you allow me, can we go to the part that it doesn't work? I mean, let's be realistic. You can make
that's what I wanted to go to now.
So you make agreements. The person says yes, but along the way they change their minds. And it happens as well. And you have to understand that maybe people will go because they don't fit anymore in this vision. And that's okay. I think everybody has to be, very honest in what they are fighting for. Because I don't want to hold anyone just because we made an agreement 6 months ago. I just want to have in the team everybody that is really for this goal. And if they change their minds, if something changed in their lives, I'm totally okay with that. I just want that we are honest with each other.
Yeah, and I think everyone profits if everyone who contributes is a net energy contributor, so to say, not like a detractor. And that's important. True.
Yeah, sure.
And I wanted to also come to this aspect when it doesn't work easily, because we see these two poles in bringing people to work on a common goal, right? The one we discussed is the modern, the usual one. We cooperate because we have a common alignment. We are working on something which motivates us individually and together. But sometimes maybe there's also hard forces that you need to somehow counter, where it's more a question of power play, right? I also look at the geopolitics these days, where we have these different systems fighting with each other right now in terms of freedom and voluntary contribution versus power play. So when we look at that, and there's this German saying of Zuckerbrot and Peitsche, which gives an idea of that. Where do you say is like something where you say, okay, now this is nothing where we should, or where do we need like a hard line and say this is now something you will need to do, or we need to somehow, we need to maybe exert more pressure or more. Disciplinary measures maybe as well.
Well, to be very honest, I think we should say the word the word no plainly, not, in a going around way, because sometimes you have to say no. You have to come to the team and say, I'm sorry, but the budget was cut and we cannot do the project anymore as we planned. And everybody will feel frustrated because things will be cut, or, technologies cannot be acquired anymore and make this product great as we envisioned. And that's the point of what I think is also leadership, is to say no, to say the truth. In my team, everybody knows when I come to my teams, I say, guys, I don't lie. And everybody don't believe, is there? Everybody lies. And I say, I don't lie. If you ask me and I can tell the truth, it's nothing confidential. Yeah, I will tell you the truth, because the truth brings everybody together. And if you have to say no to someone, or if you have to say no to a customer, or you have to say no to somebody, you have to say no. And that's the point. And after that, everything gets better, because it's like, okay, let's take my frustration a little bit longer, but it's true. It's no. So come out of this frustration and come to some kind of solution. Yeah. And then you become solution oriented. Yeah. You turn around. But if you don't say no, this goes on and on, draining resources and energy. And in the end, people feel betrayed because they said, she knew that 4 months ago, why she didn't tell us? So that's my way of working. Not everybody agrees with me, I understand, but that's the way how I work. I'd rather say no and say the truth than to prolong this, this illusion that something is coming as we planned.
Yeah, makes totally sense. I mean, you need to keep up energy, right? To somehow keep up a story that will fall apart sooner or later. I like that, especially because here at MeshCloud, as part of our cultural posture, we also have this cornerstone of candor, right? Being open, being candid about the situation as it is, even if we might not like it first, or it might create a conflict, because a conflict is nothing bad. It's just something that needs to be resolved somehow, right? But acknowledging it and making it tangible is so important. Also in relationships, actually. I mean, it's again a personal thing, actually, that is also very important for the business to value, actually. Yeah.
Okay, if we transition a bit from the leadership perspective that we talked about and how to motivate individual people, different stakeholders in such a platform context, to more of a marketing perspective. So saying, okay, the platform has been built or has been initiated. From your experience, what's the importance of really marketing such a platform internally in order to drive adoption?
Well, the experience at VW is quite challenging because these platforms are somehow very locally based. No, you cannot build something that is really global for everyone, and you have to really visit everyone and say, "Hey, we did something for you." Because if we understand the size of VW with 650,000 people, there are many platforms and many tools and many things created every day. Yeah, so people are also overwhelmed with many things that it's being created for them. And then you have really, again, to have this personal touch. It's not going to solve your advertising if you just put something in intranet and make a picture out of that and say, hey, it's there. No, people don't really realize that this is done for them. You have to make workshops. You have to be, again, personal, and you have to tell them what is the benefit for them. Because if you don't show, they will say, I don't know what to do with that. So they just disregard and go again, jump to the next one. So if you want to be successful in such big companies like I have the experience now at VW, you have to do the legwork. You have to drink coffee again and show. You have to show your product. You have to demonstrate. You have to make live sessions. You have to have an FAQ that is live, and so on. And then after this first wave is out, then people come to you. Then happens the opposite. Then people start knocking your door and say, "Can you demonstrate me?" But the first wave, you have to go out. The second wave, they come to you. That's the experience that I've been having at VW so far.
I think you need to create an experience that sticks somehow, right? And that's very hard to do with a posting or with or even a video call.
Yeah.
But if you are there and if you spend some time together, if they get like your personal impression, I think that's something that sticks, and then they remember when it comes again, the topic comes up again, basically.
Yeah. And then
you probably
get
need both as well, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Christina, what you said?
I mean, I said you need both. Like, just a post will not fix it, or they will not feel anything about it. But having this information available and like putting it into their face on a regular basis, that's also important. But we also here, I mean, we are also building a platform product, right? And one thing that we always say is, if you can, show, don't tell. Like, try to let them experience it. Try to let them try it out, and feel how it feels, and feel the benefits, and not talk only about the benefits, but actually experience them and see how things will work much faster, how they can get access to what they need much faster, how it will help them in their everyday life. And based on that show, don't tell, they might then also share that with their peers and talk about it internally, which will be a multiplier for your communication efforts there.
And the best
I think
in those sessions. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, the best in those sessions, Christina, is that you get feedback. Because nobody's going to fill in the form, the survey later on, and nobody. Everybody's going to delete this email. So if you were there, they are going to give you feedback right in your face, and it's going to be great, because feedback is a gift, So you get this feedback.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go home and say, I need to do something about that. So I think the best out of this demonstration in live sessions is that you get feedback.
Yeah, I agree. And what I liked also is you said put in the legwork, right? And I think, at least from also what I learned, to be honest, you underestimate, or it's easy to underestimate the effort that is really in promoting a product, getting it out there. I mean, we've just had the elections here. You've seen like how many events there were by every party to advertise for the votes. And that's something where you see like how much effort goes into really this marketing in terms of making yourself known and people understand what you're for and so on, right? That's
absolutely,
I think, easy to underestimate. Yep.
When we look at such complex organizations, and we talked about it before, right? It's not that one product that we have to market. Actually, there are a lot of platforms. There are different platform teams. There are different perspectives, different emotions. It might get a bit political as well, like depending on who is pursuing what kind of goal. How do you manage marketing in such a context? Because you also need to address two sides, right? We talked about the user context and that you want your customers to be happy. But if you have a proper platform ecosystem, you also need to convince people to participate in the platform, to provide services to a platform. Do you have any experiences how you can make platforms attractive to such teams? Like, what can you offer to them to get people involved and engaged, and to make them want to participate in that journey?
Yeah, I mean, two aspects. Now, you mentioned before, this can be very political, and that you have two parties trying to make the use of that in a different way. So for that part, I have a theory, which is the garden theory.
Tell us.
It's not drink coffee, it's about the garden now. So the garden way is when you buy a house and you design your garden, you think, oh, I'm putting a chair there and, I'm putting flowers here. And then we go this way and we reach the back of my garden. Well, it doesn't work because people walk in this garden in the shortest and easiest way. So they're going to, step over the plants, but they are not going to go around where the stones are. Yeah. And the same is for the platform. And then in the end, you have a path in the garden that it's where people really walk, but it's not the paved way. Yeah. And the same way is for platforms. You design something and you think people are going to use it that way and they are going to have this benefit. But when you try to put this in for several different customers, they are going to create their own garden way in this platform. And you have to accept it. You cannot try to change this because you are forcing something that they will say, but this is not logic. This is not logical. I mean, it's much better to use this platform for that purpose and not for that. And you say, okay, so just let it go. And then when you see that this path that they created for using this platform is what they really want, then go for that, Forget it, be flexible. Forget about the things that you designed before because it's like forcing people, this marketing. Trying to force people to do what they don't need is not going to work. It's a waste of time. It's my point of view in this garden theory.
Actually, we see that as a very common challenge for platform teams to answer how they design the offering, right? What to offer, where to cut it, what is priority and what isn't.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned your example, I had to think about a story I once heard about, I think it was an American university where they just put grass seeds all over the place and let grass grow. And then they waited like a few weeks or month, and then they made ways where the walkways were basically. So they had an evolutionary approach, what we call it, right?
Exactly. We can call this as well like agile development. Is the same, right?
Yeah, or bottom up or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, it's if you transfer that to platforms, it maybe is a good way to wait or to help people with the first use case. It's also common for founders. It's a common advice also to start with things that don't scale, right? Don't try to scale too early because you first need something that is helpful, that creates value, that works basically for people. And maybe that's
Yeah. So exactly this example with the garden is even better because in that case you wait and see where people walk, then you design the way, the paved way. And we try to do the other way around. We try to give them the paved way and force them to walk there. I don't believe in that.
Then you see the cuts, basically, in parks as well. Yeah. And I think that's important because it feels maybe wrong to platform teams that they are busy with every single use case because they think, okay, I'm building a platform, I want to scale, I don't want to get involved in every single case. But I think for a certain amount of time in the beginning, until you understand, okay, what's basically the common factors that we can solve once in a modular way for everyone, then you start to first go on the scaling journey, but it's later than you might hope or expect in the beginning. Right?
It's true.
Maybe I talk too much about our experience now, unconsciously.
We have flashbacks, I paved the way and nobody walked there.
It's hard also to acknowledge that.
It's hard. But that's the importance of early feedback in the end, right? You show
don't go too far on that way.
You get the feedback, and based on the feedback, you can adjust your path or your design of the platform, and then really build it in a way that is meaningful to your customers. You shouldn't hide it for too long, but of course, you also have to provide some value early on, so people are willing to try it out and to see what it can bring to them. On the user side, so we talked a bit about, okay, how can we make it attractive? How can we get people to try it out? Why should users use platform? What do you think the biggest benefit for a platform user can be, and how can you convince them of trying out something new? Oftentimes it's also a new way of working, right? Like it's also a bit of a cultural shift because the responsibilities change. They might have to take more responsibility or less responsibility, which is something that can be rejected also by the users. Do you have maybe some recommendations to our listeners out there as well on how to convince users to try it out and also to be open to a new way of working?
Well, to be honest, I think everything in a corporate environment is cost-driven, first of all. Yeah, it's cost-driven. In the end, the major goal is to make profit as a company. So when you walk backwards, from this, we have to make profit and we have to be cost-driven, then in the end makes a lot of sense to have those platforms. And I think our work is not the platform itself only, but to make this cost-driven aspect and the major goal of making profit aware, to everyone. And say, look,
it's a link to the business impact again, right?
It's a link to the business impact, So it's not just because I wanted to use it or it's because my platform is amazing, but it because help us to get there, It's because to help us to get there in our core business. If it's, selling refrigerators or producing cars or making makeup, whatever business it is, there is a platform that make us, work together in one framework to save money, to be cost efficient. And this is something that we have to tell people over and over and over again. Because otherwise you can build the best platforms in the world. They don't see it. They just think, why should I do that? Let me work further with my Excel sheets here. I know them. It's the way I have been doing this the last 25 years. And when you say, yeah, but this is not bringing us to that profit, So let's jump to something else. Yeah, go ahead.
You need to have a good platform story, actually, right?
You need a platform story because otherwise, the finance team is going to use Excel forever. They are not going to use our system. And that's the point why they should jump, to this platform. You have to tell the story. You have to explain why we are doing this. There is always a reason and people need to understand that.
Yeah, so it's again like combining this vision with the personal interests and the personal goals of the people, and then getting them there. Maybe last question in the marketing context, especially in such a big and decentralized group. You cannot drink coffee with everybody, unfortunately, even though that's a good start. Have you experienced any other kind of effective means of communication on how to tell people that there is a thing that they can use? Like how do you communicate? Do you maybe have some tips?
Or raise attention for that matter, right? How do you basically ring the bell that you are now there on the stage?
Well, it's the old-fashioned way, show the benefits, If this is bringing savings, get a super PowerPoint, with all the savings on that page and send it out. Yeah, we saved a lot using this platform, because somehow, you're right, I cannot drink coffee with everyone, but I can show everyone, sending just an email or posting somehow anywhere, what this is bringing to us, So I will not get this so personal in that way. I will bring the numbers. I will bring the benefits that we could achieve with that. And this bring people, again, back to the platform and, maybe raise the interest to use that. Because in the end, everybody's trying to do the same, be efficient, drive well the teams, motivate the teams, and for each area, they are just thinking about their own box, what they need, what they have to achieve. And if this platform shows the benefits of that, they will come automatically to you. It's just a matter of time. They will search for you and say, can you help us do that?
Yeah. So if I get you correctly, it's less about the channel. If you use an email, PowerPoint, or whatever, it's more the giving the case, basically, right? Showing we had success with this example.
You
basically a
must
tangible
show
example.
the success that they need.
Yeah. That they want also.
That
that's
they want.
desirable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they want something that brings customers, then you show how many customers you brought with that. If they need to save money, then you show how much you can save money with that. If they need to have a better product, then you show how you could get your better product with that platform. So you just turn around, from the objective of this team, and you show from this platform perspective what they can get from that. And then they come to you.
Yeah, makes sense. I get it. Yeah, I mean, we talked for a while.
I think we are slowly... quickly moving to our last questions. If you could wish for something that organizations would do more or better when kind of telling their platform stories or building up their platform stories, what would it be? Like, what do you think we should all do a bit more when working with platforms in order to make them more successful and reap the benefits?
I think first of all we have to be friendly. We tend to be like in a football match. Either you are Bayern München or you're Leverkusen. No, let's take a look let's have fun in this match, even though you have a different platform or you have a different perspective. Let's get the most out of our platforms together, and not really like defend your thing or your product or your technology, disregarding everything else and making people feel that you don't need them, you don't like them. I think from this perspective, from the emotional perspective, you can win a lot. You can make everybody work together, and then those platforms will be successful because they accept each other. And that would be my dream, how to put these organizational changes for such big companies as we are working in.
I think that's great advice. That a lot of people should consider.
And have this common perspective, common alignment on the greater goal. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking if we have...
Let's see if we have some questions.
No questions in the chat, so I think we can go with our last question, which leaves you, Renata, with asking a question for our next guest that we will have next month. Is there something that you would like to know about platforms, or that you would ask another person when it comes to platforms? And we'll share that question with the next guest in the next episode.
Oh, very interesting. Well. How to drive platforms in different cultures. Like the customer has a different culture than the platform team, and the technology has also a different culture, was developed in another, country, and how to bring this together in a very efficient way. I will be eager to hear his or her answer.
Great questions. I realized some parallels to your task. So that's
maybe I can get something for free.
It makes sense. Yeah. No, I think like if we look at like how platforms are basically the new paradigm after DevOps, right? So that how we work collaboratively, I think it's an important part in how do I create these former outsourcing relationships, like these cross-cultural offshoring collaborations in a way that works more smoothly, right? I mean, we all have had our experience, I think, with how it works not smoothly, but that's why we have a chance here to use platforms as our facilitator, make it more efficient.
Yeah, every hint I'm eager to hear. How to build an offshore in a country.
So
Okay.
So we'll make our research to find some
second episode for that with you as well to learn more about
Give me 1 year and we talk again. Okay, guys.
Perfect. Then thank you very much, Renata, for being with us today. I think we got some great insights into your experiences, also into complex organizations and how to communicate and promote platforms effectively. So thanks for taking the time. Thanks for being with us. And
thanks for sharing your great experience. And I think we touched some very important lessons regarding the leadership.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the time. And yeah, I wish you a very successful next platform story, and that these episodes don't stop, because we want to hear more and more about people's experience on that. It's very interesting.
Yeah, we just started, so we'll keep it on. Thank you so much.
That's why I want more. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a good...
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we keep going. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Renata. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.